Tonight's mail opening is accompanied by Skulls Lager. It's a Schwarzbier from Green to Glass Brewing. Interestingly, they have the full recipe and ingredients list on their website with instructions to make this beer at home. That's pretty cool of them, if you wanted to make your own beer. Despite the look of it, it's relatively light tasting and a little bit effervescent, actually. Interesting. So the first item in the mail opening calls itself Plug Cable Connector 6-pin. 1, 2, 3. These are in fact 5-pin DIN connectors. These are most commonly used as MIDI connectors, and that is why I bought them. You remember that guitar effects unit I got a while ago from a thrift store? Hang on, let me get it. Yeah, this one here. You can control it via foot switch or anything else from MIDI. And that is what these are for, because there is an Arduino MIDI library. See where I'm going with this? 5 pieces DIN mail plug 5-pin connector with plastic handle adapters, cables, blah blah blah. They cost me $4.80 plus $1.27 Canadian shipping, which isn't too bad for the 5 of them. That's probably a lifetime supply for me unless I get really big into MIDI, which hasn't happened yet, but you never know. What else is there to say about them? They're 5-pin DIN mail. They are black. They are ABS plastic. They are nickel-plated copper. There's 5 of them. Next in we have, oh hey, it's a plastic sheet. Wonder what it really is. I always like the surprise. Anti-static bag. It looks sort of like an Arduino Uno. It's shaped like an Uno, but that ain't no Uno. It says Wemos there. Oh, hello. It's an ESP32 that is shaped like an Arduino Uno. Well, that is nifty. So you could use standard shields on there as long as they can deal with 3.3 volts instead of 5 volts and can supply 3.3 volts out their pins to this guy. The ESP32 is a much more powerful processor than you'd find on a normal Arduino. It also has Wi-Fi and I believe Bluetooth. The downsides, there aren't many, but the downside is it's only got one analog input, which may or may not be a showstopper for some projects. The USB to serial on it is a CH340, which some people with Windows computers have problems with because Windows doesn't naturally and automatically supply a driver, but every Linux machine that I've ever tried just figures it out on its own. I think Mac is similar in that, but I'm not sure. So it breaks out 12 IOs on that side, which is where the digital IO traditionally is on an Uno. And it's got 6 more over here where the Uno normally keeps its analog, and they're labeled as analog, but I don't think the ESP32 has 6 analog inputs. I could be wrong. I'll have to look that up. But regardless, you can use them as digital I/O anyway. So that gives you 12 plus 6, 18 GPIO to play with, which in a lot of cases is more than enough for your project. ESP32 Wemos D1 Mini Uno R3 R32 Wi-Fi Bluetooth CH340 development board for Arduino. Gotta get all them keywords in there. Got this from Horizon Electronic. It's been a while since I bought stuff from them. But I did used to buy quite a bit from them. Anyways, this cost me $5.35 American or $6.86 Canadian, and yeah, it did have some shipping. Not quite that much when I bought it. Yes, it changed again, but it's still pretty good deal, I think, for something like this. So what do we say down here? Yeah, it's got a voltage regulator on it, so you can feed it through the barrel jack with up to 12 volts, just like any other Uno. It has an ESP32. Yeah, it only has one analog input with 3.2 volt maximum, which is normal for the ESP32. It has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So when I plug this thing in, I do get some data out of it, which is means it is working, even though it didn't come with a factory boot or blink sketch. So there is some information about it that tells me that it's alive and well and feeling good. I just have to go on a bit of a research mission to figure out how to program the thing and make it get up and dance. Next in we have, it doesn't say because it came from Canada. Okay. Let's just see what's in here. This is one of those purchases that was more curiosity than anything else. It is one of those fancy brushless DC motors that all the cool kids are playing with. Motor is 3 connections and a couple little hub adapters. That's intended for an RC aircraft. There's the little propeller mount thing. And I also got a 30 amp motor controller, which will run off between 2 and 4 LiPos in series. And I don't know what that is. I assume that's probably the control input, which I think is a PWM type input similar to what you use to drive a little servo motor and stuff like that. There's the 3 outputs to the motor. I think I've got connectors that are compatible with that. I'll have to dig through my pile and see. And then of course the DC input. So I see the cool kids playing with these things on the internet, and I figured, well, let's just grab one and see what I can do with it. I may find some interesting application, but initially it is just an experiment, just to tinker with it and see if I can understand how to control it. I mean, I can copy and paste somebody's code and probably make it run, but I would like to kind of understand how that works. And yeah, I may find a use for it eventually, but right now, like I said, it's just for learning. A 2217 brushless motor, electronic speed controller for aircraft, RC, drone, etc. Got this from High Healthy 006, not 007, 006, for $18.85 and free shipping from Toronto. And from the same seller, 30 amp ESC brushless motor speed controller for RC airplane helicopter. And I paid $11.69 for this. There are bigger ones as well. I'm not sure what the difference is, but this one comes without connectors. That one, I guess you just plug straight in. And this one has connectors on it. Okay, so I just got the cheapest one. There is quite a bunch of information down here. Yay, Canadian sellers actually putting information in. I'm not going to read it all, but continuous current 30 amps, voltage between 4 and 16 volts, 2 to 4 LiPos as it says. Wow, upper speed limit, it can control a motor up to 21,000 RPM or less depending on the number of poles in the motor, and I'll have to check on the motor. Okay, I have reading to do. I will have to figure that out. And the motor itself, I got the 2300 kV, which apparently can turn a 6-inch prop of various different types, and I don't know what that is because I'm not really an aircraft dude. Not quite sure how many poles that motor has. I may have to count it or something. Like I said, I bought these as a learning experience, as an experimental platform, and that's what's going to happen. Not sure how much of that I'm going to show you until I get it to the point where I can actually do something with it, but we shall see. And I know lots of people have been down this path before. I learn better by getting my hands dirty, so here we go. That's what this is. Next in we have, it says round voltage voltmeter meter. It's a voltmeter meter. Maybe. Oh. Okay. Oh, it's a bunch of this kind of little panel meter. Okay. Let's open this yellow one. Oh, somebody got mad at me for slicing through a bag. Yeah, okay, I'll open it this way. So there's 3 7-segment LEDs and a little V. Okay. Does that just pop right out? No, but it's kind of loose in there. Okay, let's Screw that back on, pretend we didn't see that. Ah, specs, there we go. So 'tis an AC voltmeter that can measure between 60 and 500 volts AC. Okay. 2 terminals on the bottom of it. Looks like they're all the same. So I've got an assortment of different colors of AC voltmeters. Huh. Oh, I know why I ordered these. I ordered them as potential replacements for this little thing right here. Except for they look like they're a little bit too deep, so maybe I'll have to 3D print a bezel or something to hold them out there or something. Huh. Well, that was an oversight. Let's see if the listing says anything about that dimension. That's a problem. Or maybe it's a project. 5-pack digital ammeter. No, it's not. Round AC 12 to 500 volt. Yes. Amp. No. Voltmeter. Yes. LED indicator. Lamp light. Yes to most of those things. Got it from notebook.edge. Free shipping. $16 Canadian right now. It was a little bit less when I bought it because all these things keep going up. 29 by 51 by 20 millimeters. Yeah, okay, that is pretty much 51 millimeters stem to stern. But I was hoping there'd be a bit more out there because that depth is about 35 millimeters. Anyway, down here it's a digital multiple voltage signal indicator. High brightness LEDs can only be used to measure AC. We knew that. They claim 12 to 500 volts. On the meters themselves, they say 60. Wonder which one is right. Oh, I guess there's only one way to find out. Okay, let's get my little test setup connected here. Let's see what happens. So there is 12 volts AC. Nothing there yet. 24, 30. It's just starting to tickle to light. Not sure if you can see that, but it's just barely flickering 40 volts. And the unity meter is saying 40.8. Let's get this a little bit brighter. How about 55 volts? 54.1. It says 53. So it's pretty accurate. It's just not a thing designed for bright light. Let me see if I can shade that some. Hang on here just a second. All right, let's resume. The Handyman's Secret Sunshade duct tape. So 54 volts there, 54 volts there. That's nice. These things claim to kick in at 60 volts. And now it's kind of bright enough to see, I guess. Maybe not in the brightly lit room. Oh yeah, there. Look at that. It just between 60 and 70, it just gets a lot brighter. Let's go up 100 and... That's pretty damn close. I like that. It's a little bit slow to track. Can you see that now if I'm... So let's take that to there. 110, 112, 111. Okay, let's crank it right up to max. That didn't take very long at all. Bring it back down. Okay, I stand corrected. That is tracking fairly quickly. It's just too bad that these guys are a little bit too deep to mount on there. Although I think it's hollow behind there, isn't it? I don't know. I've got some other ones on order that are more rectangular, so I won't have to create a bezel maybe if they're the right size. I don't know. But I thought these were an interesting option, and they weren't horrendously expensive. They'll always come in handy for stuff, I think. And the last thing in, it doesn't say what it is. Canadian reshipping warehouse, yada yada. You've heard this story 100 times. Uh-oh, did I cut the bags? Oh! Looks like I've got a bag of alligator clips, of big ones here. And I've got some test lead stuff over there. Oh, Are these the alligator clips that are designed to... Yeah, okay. So these guys go up in there, like that, and then you can do that. Okay. That's a nice big assortment pack of those. Yes, I know. I don't care about colors, remember? And this set appears to be... We got some different probe tips in there. We got some little alligator clip tips in there. Oh, those are nice silicone wires. Excellent. So that is standard bananas. And this, I think, does that. Yeah. So you can make up your own tip adapter things here. Okay. So we got these nice little clips there. And then what's in here? We have a couple little tip things and an assortment of probe tips. Do those... Oh, okay. So those various probe tips thread into there. And then you can put that onto there. So that one's nice long needle tips. This one is more of a standard probe tip with a little notch in it. And looks like there's 4 of each type. Okay. Huh. So I could have sworn that when I ordered it, it was supposed to come with a pair of these. I may have gotten shorted here. I'll have to check in the listing. Or maybe it's on the floor. Gopchin? 10 pieces insulated push-on alligator clip for test lead. Fluke AC10, AC72. This set cost me $8.20 Canadian from, it looks like, the company that's actually in charge of them, Gopchin Electric. So they claim a current rating of 10 amps and a voltage, aka insulation rating of 1,000 volts. And they do feel more sturdy than the typical little alligator clips. I mean, obviously they aren't Fluke, but they seem reasonable enough. I don't know whether I'd trust them anywhere near 1,000 volts or much over 500 even. Then again, I don't touch anything much over 500 very often, especially not at home in my hobby shop here. Also from the same seller, Gopchin multimeter lead test kit banana plug alligator clip wire piercing probe. They had a few different sets in here. That's the B one that I got. And yeah, it was supposed to come with both a red and a black handle. I am going to have to look around here, just make sure it didn't fall on the floor, maybe review the footage, but I think I may not have gotten 100% of what I paid for. Anyway, this cost me $15.38 Canadian or $11.99 American. So they have their various different kits listed down here with what's in them. I got the least expensive kit. So there are 4 standard needles and 4 gilded sharp needles. Protective caps, yeah. Small alligator clips, yeah. Test cable stick, 1 red and 1 black. Yeah, that's what I'm missing is the red one. And then there is the banana plug to banana plug test leads. There's some of the other ones with a few different accessories with them. Let's see what that biggest kit costs. $44. Wow, yeah. That is why I went for the second least expensive kit that they sell. But for silicone cables alone, that's pretty good, I think. And there is the contents of today's Mailbag Monday haul. And quite the haul it is. Let's just quickly go through the shipping times. This ESP32 Uno took 17 days. The voltmeters, the probe kit, and the DC motor and motor controller all took 13 days. And these 5-pin DIN connectors for MIDI took 44 days. I'm interested to play with a few of these things. This motor and speed controller for one. This D1, Wemos D1, it calls itself, this ESP32 board is going to be interesting to play with when I have a project that needs the kind of power that that thing has. That's going to happen at some point, probably some tinkering off camera before you see it. These voltmeters, They're not quite what I was hoping for, but I'm sure they'll come in handy for something. Though I don't know if 5 of them is more than my lifetime supply. We shall see. Anyway, thanks to my Patreon supporters and my YouTube channel members for helping to fund this madness, and more importantly, or as importantly, for helping me keep my beer fridge full. I do appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. And the rest of you, thanks for watching. Questions and comments down below in the comment section as usual. I will talk to you later.